know it's noisy because I got to get the windshield defrosted because it got real cold. But it's May 22nd at 4:58 a.m. and I am heading up on top of the mountain. Not the last mountain I went on, but the one further past. I went there last year. I don't think I've been back this year. Maybe it was this year. I don't remember exactly, but I think it was last year. Anyway, I took the audio equipment and the camcorder and thought that would be a good idea, but hand-holding the audio equipment turned into be difficult. So I brought the audio equipment this time, but I also brought the cinema camera, the pocket cinema camera, and the lens, and we'll do handheld and or tripod, kind of monopod. Anyway, just a quick thing, but I've got the windshields defrosting, and I got to go because it is now 4:59 and the sun rises at 5:37, and it's a little bit longer than a 37-minute drive, so technically I'll be there around sunrise, and it'll still take me a few minutes to get the camera set up. That's what we're doing today. Where's the camera? I'm looking at my phone. The lens should be there. Or not, because the road is still closed. Should have checked that. It's okay. And back in the car we are. Didn't quite work according to plan from what I thought of last night and then what got executed today. And I realized I made the same mistake a year ago when I went and checked when the videos were from. But to my credit, I didn't make the exact same mistake because it was the beginning of May a year ago, and then this is the end of May a year later. The road was closed to get up to that second mountain, which is Muddy Mountain. I recorded that earlier, and then I was just on the way driving, and I was like, why didn't I say the name of it? I've said that before, I've shown pictures of it before, and more to the point, I won't be here much longer. So by the time this gets posted, because it's running like 2 months behind of when I record, edit, publish to Patreon, and then it goes live on YouTube for the greater public, I'll be gone. And so I'm okay talking about that. I specifically do make it a point to not announce and talk about where I am and give exact locations for things while I'm doing it for safety, because I don't want to, you see the equipment that I carry and you know how much it is. It's just not really a good idea to start giving people a way to follow and locate and figure out where I'm going. It's also for the animals' protection. If I see something, and especially if it's endangered, there are people, absolutely, and it's a huge thing, not so much here, but especially overseas, like Africa, for people who go hunting the endangered animals like rhinos and things like that they shouldn't. And so there's a huge deal about that, like not posting anything until you get back, not sharing anything, not giving away exact locations, because it puts those animals in danger from poachers. So I already have that mindset for just any animal, no matter what it is. And so that in combination with my own safety, I don't typically like to go sharing the exact locations for stuff. Now, what I will do, and I think I did this after I moved out here, is shared all the locations for Georgia. I don't remember if I actually did that, because I wasn't making videos at that point. I was still writing just blog posts. And so I remember thinking about it, and maybe I shared locations, and maybe I just thought about it and went, I should do that, and then I didn't. So I'm not 100% sure, because I have that in my memory of going, ah, yes, that makes sense. I could do that. But anyway, the wildlife side of things. When I made that mistake a year ago, I wound up just driving around and going, I wonder what I can find out here. And I drove down a dirt road, and I saw a bunny, and I went, great, I'll stop. And I got out and I started getting some footage of the bunny because I thought that would be cool. And where I wound up was next to a grove of trees that you can't see because this is just all white because of the overpowering sun. But anyway, just a bunch of trees, and there is some water over there, but I can't get to the water or close enough to really see anything, but because there's a fence and it's private property. But just here on the side of the road looking over is where I got plenty of footage of the red-winged blackbird. And I'm pretty sure I brought all my audio equipment that time as well, because that's where I got to hear their call, and I see them do the puffed up, their mating ritual, I guess. Really cool, right? So I came back to this spot going, maybe I'll see more of those. I'd rather see something than nothing, and I can't get up on top of the mountain that I wanted to go to. So, same, it's very, very same. Didn't even think about it this morning. Road was closed, so decided quick, let's get to here. So I got here, and I spent about 2 hours out there, and boy, did I see more than just the red-winged blackbird this time. I saw a northern flicker for a while. I think the red-shafted one. I saw it preening itself. I heard it do its call. I should have gotten pretty good audio and video of all of that. Let's see. I'm trying to think of kind of in an order. I definitely saw the red-winged blackbird, but I think I saw new stuff. I think so, because there were several yellow birds that I don't think I've seen before, and different variations. One that was more yellow, one that was like yellow and black with a bit of red around the face and some white on the wing even. There was one that was like yellow and brown, and this one, I think it was yellow and brown. It's a little hard to tell because they're further away. I'm standing against the sunlight, so where my camera is, I've got sun beating down on it, so I'm constantly having to like cover up to look at the screen to get a good image, like to get a good view of what I'm seeing there. I can see it and I can tell it's in focus because I use something called Focus Assist almost all the time, because I don't have a viewfinder on this like I do on the other camera, the bigger one. So I'm always looking at the screen and not actually even on the viewfinder it's a screen. But anyway, that I can get a better image because I close it up. But anyway, just to help, Focus Assist is something that when it detects the edges are in focus, it makes them bright red. Like, it lights them up digitally bright red, so you can see that. So I use that pretty much all the time. But what that does is it also makes things red. It doesn't record it that way. It's showing me the playback of it being red, so you can tell when something is in focus. So typically I'll just keep that on the whole time because it's easier than turning it off and on all the time. And so with that being on, it is just a button press, to be fair. It is a button press for it on and off, and I do that sometimes when I'm having trouble locating something, because what it will do is it will light up everything in focus. And typically when I'm shooting far away, I've got a pretty wide open, a pretty closed off aperture, so I can get more in focus to try to get as much of the bird as I can. With it being like that, that means that all the trees are also in focus. So it's just a sea of red on my screen. But as long as I can see the bird, and I can see the bird is surrounded with red, I know it should be in focus. It's about the best that I can get. But anyway, that also gives me trouble identifying when I'm on the field, looking through things, because it's adding red to a bird that wouldn't be, even if it's just around the edges. I can kind of look. But anyway, I think it was yellow and brown, this bird that we're talking about now, that I do not know the name of yet because I don't have any of my field guides with me or anything. I actually left that bag at home by accident that has like the little pocket fold-out ones. But what I found the most interesting about this bird, it lands, it's on the little branches, it's there, and then it starts making calls, and it makes 5, 6, 7 more calls that are all different. Very different. Some are little cheeps and some are wide ranges of different noises. And I'm really hoping all of that came out because, well, I'm recording audio, a shotgun mic on the camera, and then 2 the ambient audio recording, I have a pair of microphones that I hook up to the recorder, and that should all be going. And then I put time sync devices so that I can sync them up between the two. But anyway, I should definitely have footage of this bird and its audio. And I'm pretty sure I've never seen this before, and I definitely have never noticed a bird. I probably have heard those calls and thought, oh, that's a group of birds, because they all sound so very different. And this may be on purpose. It may very well be that it's like, it does this in order to imitate other types of birds for reasons. I don't know fully all the reasons that a bird imitates other ones, but you've heard of mockingbirds, right? They mock the other types of birds. They sound like them. And it could be for predator reasons. You sound a lot like, I can't think of a very good example. I can think of several very wrong examples that I should not use as to what you could sound like to attract. Anyway, if you are red bird and bluebird makes a different noise, and you eat red bird, or you eat bluebird as the red bird, or you want their eggs or to get them out of the nest, or there could be a huge amount of reasons. I don't know the biology behind it as to certain things, but I do know that there are birds that imitates the calls of other birds. Maybe that's what it is. Again, it very quickly went through a rapid range of varying different birds and varying different calls. And I've never seen one like that or heard that before. So that's super interesting to me. And I can't wait to get back and review the footage on that. So a lot of yellow birds, a few different kinds. I saw the Clark's Nutcracker as well. That's a newer one that I've seen just the last time I went up Casper Mountain. The mourning dove. The mourning dove I've been seeing for years. It's fairly common, and I do remember at first it was like, oh, is that an owl? And you get used to it and go, no, that's the mourning dove, because they just have kind of a hoot to it, a low calling noise. But I've never actually seen them making that noise. You hear them, and then I look and I see them, but I've never witnessed them making that noise. So I got that. That should come out. And of course, like I said, the red-winged blackbird. I think that's everything. It was a large variety of them. Yeah, I heard one making a call that I saw and heard one making a call that I'm not entirely sure. It could be the European starling. Excuse me. But I'm not exactly sure. Either way, super exciting. Definitely saw ones that I don't think I have identified before. Multiple variations of the yellow that I don't, because I'm pretty sure most of the only yellow I've seen a goldfinch once or twice, but I've never got it on video. I'm trying to remember if I have seen anything else that's really yellow besides the meadowlark that has a good bit of yellow, but that one's very noticeable, and I don't think this was, well, I know this wasn't a meadowlark. Now, I may have seen a meadowlark at some other point, but the one in particular, the main focus that I've really narrowed in on that just peaked up everything, and I went, well, this is amazing. I don't think I've seen this before, was that one that made all the different calls. And I've seen a meadowlark many a time, and they make the same call every time, but they are quite noticeable. Anyway, great day out. I think this was fantastic. Not exactly according to plan, but we improvised, we adapt, and came up with something else in a different way that still I got better, because I really haven't gotten good footage of anything up at Muddy Mountain. It's not nearly as active as this place. This place out here, kind of in the middle, just off a dirt road nowhere, and then there's a bunch of trees, and evidently there's a good amount of water. Enough active, hey, come back. Active enough that there's plenty of birds. So that's about it for the wildlife side of things. I do know what you're thinking. I can hear your question coming at me, and it's, well, since we've seen you last, there has been a big change, a noticeable difference. And you're right. It's not directly related to wildlife, but I should address it in both videos here, the personal and the wildlife side. You're right. I have new gloves. Yes. I did the last time we were out. I got my gloves. Found out that there was a hole in the finger, the left index finger. And that just doesn't really work, because I use these for a variety of things, and it's a little irritating to have your finger poking out through there, and also it could get you to the cold and everything. So yes, you're right.
that is the big change there. I got some new gloves. So anyway, it's going to be it for today. We're going to pack up, head home, and see what else we see on the way there. I haven't actually put away the Camry. All right. Yeah, I shaved my head. That was the whole thing I thought of this morning where I was like, oh, it's funny, I got new gloves. I could do this whole bit about having new gloves and nod a dress as I take off my hat and show that, yeah, I shaved all my hair off. Anyway, until next time, there may be more footage after this. I don't know how I edit these things, Sometimes I put the footage before, sometimes I put it after. I don't know, maybe while I'm talking even. So at some point during this video that you're watching, you have either seen wildlife or are about to see wildlife footage. There may be more because I did not put away the camera entirely. I still have a good drive left, and I definitely have seen, and I may have seen one today. The first thing I saw when I got out here was bigger, and it was flying, and it had a white belly, so maybe it was a kestrel. I really want to get some good footage of the kestrel because they do have orange on them, and I'm particularly fond of the color orange. So I've seen them out here, and there's big kind of mountain ranges in this area on my drive back. So I did not put the camera away just yet. When I get back to the highway, I'll pack it all up. But anyway, there may be more footage. It may have happened. I don't know how this is going to come together. Until next time. Something. at the end of the day, pulled over, packed up all the camera stuff before I head home, and I just really wanted to leave one positive note, just to make sure of what I really want to take away from this, is just to look back over the last year and a half on all the experiences that I've had, everything that I've done since moving here, and keep that in mind for where I go in the future, because they've all been overall positive. And all the new stuff that I got to experience and the new exciting things. And I'm sure that I'll have at least that many more in the future, if not more.